Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel, where I explain science topics in a fun and easy way. Today we're going to talk about ATP, or adenosine triphosphate, which is a very important molecule for all living things. But what is ATP, and what does it do? Let's find out. What is ATP? ATP is a molecule that consists of three main parts: a nitrogenous base called adenine, a sugar called ribose, and a chain of three phosphate groups. You can see that the phosphate groups are connected by special bonds called phosphoanhydride bonds. These bonds are very high in energy, which means that they can store and release a lot of energy when they are broken or formed. What does ATP do? ATP has many functions in the cell, but the most important one is to carry energy. ATP is like a rechargeable battery that can power up different cellular processes. When ATP is broken down into ADP, adenosine diphosphate, and a phosphate group, energy is released. This energy can be used for various tasks such as driving metabolic reactions that would not happen by themselves, transporting substances across the cell membrane, doing mechanical work such as moving muscles. For example, when you exercise, your muscles need energy to contract. This energy comes from ATP, which is broken down by an enzyme called myosin. The released phosphate group binds to another protein called actin, causing it to change shape and pull the muscle fiber. This process is repeated many times, resulting in muscle contraction. But how does ATP get recharged? Well, there are several ways that cells can make more ATP from ADP and phosphate. One way is through photophosphorylation, which is a process that only plants and some bacteria can do. They use light energy to make ATP during photosynthesis. Another way is through cellular respiration, which is a process that most living things can do. They use oxygen and glucose to make ATP in the mitochondria of the cell. A third way is through fermentation, which is a process that some organisms can do when there is no oxygen available. They use other chemicals to make ATP in the cytoplasm of the cell. What else does ATP do? Besides being an energy source, ATP also has other roles in the cell. One role is to act as a signaling molecule for cell communication. Some enzymes called kinases use ATP to add phosphate groups to other molecules, changing their activity or function. This way, ATP can help transmit signals from outside the cell to inside the cell, triggering different responses. For example, when you get scared or excited, your body releases adrenaline, which binds to receptors on your cells. This activates a kinase that uses ATP to phosphorylate another molecule called CAMP, which then activates another kinase that phosphorylates another molecule called PCAF, which then activates another kinase that phosphorylates another molecule called CREB, which then binds to DNA and turns on genes that help you cope with stress. Another role of ATP is to provide the building blocks for DNA and RNA synthesis. The nucleobase adenine in ATP is also part of adenosine, which is one of the 4 nucleotides that make up RNA. RNA is then used to make proteins or DNA. DNA also contains adenine as one of its 4 nucleotides, along with thymine, cytosine, and guanine. Summary. So, to summarize what we learned today, ATP is a molecule that consists of adenine, ribose, and 3 phosphate groups. ATP carries energy in its phosphoanhydride bonds. ATP can be used for various cellular processes such as metabolism, transport, and movement. ATP can also be used for signal transduction and nucleic acid synthesis. ATP can be made from ADP and phosphate through photophosphorylation, cellular respiration, or fermentation. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new about ATP. If you did, please give it